repeat this? Alright, okay. Alright, cool. Alright.
Is that like a trick question? Or
Yeah, I know. Okay.
I felt that being a realtor would allow me to stay at home with my family. You know, I can pick and choose when I make my appointments, so I would never miss those important days.
Hey everybody, I'm back here again for a year-end recap, the 2021 edition. 2021 edition with our good friend Julian Barrientos, the group leader of the ALL CITY Barrientos Group. And all we're gonna do is eat, enjoy some lunch because that's how busy we've become.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, so we're gonna eat, we're gonna talk, we're gonna catch up, we're gonna talk about last year, and we're gonna talk about this year and just see where the conversation takes us. So, again, Julian, thank you for stopping. Well, thank you for having us.
No, thank you for stopping by.
No problem, and I appreciate us having the opportunity to eat some really good food. I'm gonna miss this. Yeah, if it wasn't for this meeting, I wouldn't be able to enjoy Arepitas right now. So, thank you for making the time, man. So to start off, our last video we shot in January of 2021. And we talked about how we met. We talked about our journey, which started in 2019. Mm-hmm. And then we kind of discussed the success of 2020 and then what we were going to do in 2021. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how 2021 went for you?
Well, 2021 went extremely well. In 2020, I had the Barrientos Group. And as I tell you, I formed the group as a Barrientos Group, but it was only me, myself, and I. So in 2021, my wife joined the team, and then Kimberly Soto was my first agent. You know, I love her. She's awesome. She's a go-getter. To be honest, Kimberly didn't need me. But after Kimberly, I had Suhaidi, I had Anna, Laura, and other people followed up. My goal was 10. I ended up with 15 agents. These agents, you know, they make the Barrientos Group. You know, every time I turn back around, somebody has something under contract. The clients and everything. I mean, you can look at on the Google reviews. The clients are happy. So I'm gonna even grow more. So now my goal is to have 25 agents by the end of the year, and I know I have 15. I'm gonna put 10 more, and who knows? I might end up with 30. Knock on wood. But I mean, I can't complain. It's just phenomenally well. You and I, we're still closing deals. What's it? 64 deals. You know,
last year, yeah, we were over 60, almost 70, and something else. I was going through a few things, and when I was setting up the 2022 spreadsheet, I saw that we had some deals that I didn't put on 2021 because in January I started getting commission checks, and I was like, I didn't put this on the last year. So I want to say we definitely, for sure, 65 that I think we posted on social media, 65. But I think I found 3 more, so we just missed 70, and our goal was 50.
Our goal was 50. And in fact, we talked to a couple investors down the road, and we said, hey, I challenge you to give us 50 houses. And they said, yeah. And they fell short. You know what I'm talking about. You guys fell short giving them houses. I'm going to throw shade at you because very disappointed. However, we not only we exceeded our goal. So from the fix and flip business, you know, fixing and flipping business in there, I was able to make my money as a commission, and then you make your money as the investor. So how did that work out for you?
Man, it was phenomenal. To recap, I don't know if we were able to address it in the last conversation or whatnot, but what I did was something that I kind of do instinctually, and you know, reading the book, the 80-20 rule, it's basically 80% of your effort goes to 20% of this, or vice versa. So for example, if you're in sales, 20% of your bigger clients are going to make up like 80% of your revenue.
The Realtor principle, I think.
Exactly. Also known as the 80-20. So what I noticed was, as I started to expand back then, that I was putting so much effort into running around doing properties and rentals and things, and my real money was coming from 20% of my business. And at the time, 20% of the business was the flipping business.
So for those of you who don't know, one day I walk into the office and says, Julian, I got 15 work orders to do repairs. I was like, all right, send them out. He goes, no, I got 15 work orders this morning. It's 12 o'clock right now, and I got another 18 more. We don't have enough contractors. And if you guys can think back during the COVID time frame, the supplies were scarcity. Everybody's doing construction, and then later on that evening, you got another 20 work orders, and you're like, man, And then it was just bombarded by work orders, and they just kept coming. They kept coming. The work orders, like everybody's had to break everything at the same time, and there wasn't any but workers on it, and it became so frustrating. I remember that time you were frustrated. And you said, you know what, Julian, it's time to get out of this business because it's consuming all my time that I don't really have time to go out there and look at properties and invest my money. I'm investing my time on something that's not generating enough money. This is secure money, but it's not worth my time and effort. And that's when I remember you said, hey, I'm gonna let it go.
Yeah.
I remember that specifically that time.
Yeah, I was doing like 60 hours a week to bring in, $10,000-$15,000 a month. And then I had to hire so many people. So I was actually losing $8,000 a month on average.
Wow.
So $100,000 loss to end 60 hours of my life every week. It was a no-brainer. So we were able to condense that. And then I was able to focus my time purely on looking at deals and working with my clients. So that was something that was successful for me. And then I also wanted to try my hand at development. Right, because we had the vacant lots. So that was a transition that I wanted to try to get into.
Oh man, yeah. I know the American Foundation, the community building, it did materialize like you envisioned it. But I do, I know people appreciated the foundation because I still see you donating money to the inner city schools, to the athletes and everything. You're sponsoring a couple athletes that hopefully they make it to the Olympics. And without the American Foundation, these kids in the Killeen Fort Hood area wouldn't have been able to engage at a higher level.
Right. Yeah. Thank you as always for your donations. Julian's been very generous. We've had some other donors who have donated, 4 figures, 5 figures, and yeah, we just want to give back. Like with my education background, I know, and I agree with you, how paramount it is to make sure that these kids have access. So many students just don't have the opportunity to show how great they are. So yeah, we have Dre Adams.
Yeah.
He's a future potential Olympian. His kid's breaking records left and right at his age and at his weight. So we're glad to be able to give back. I'm glad that for a time there, COVID wasn't as hard as it's starting to become now again. And I was able to go back into schools and able to work with children again and start to do seminars and webinars and transition back into education. So, I love real estate and what it provides, but at my core, education is probably the most important thing.
Yeah. So you mentioned seminars. I remember we had a free seminar for the All City agents. We had a handful of All City agents. Well, the whole classroom got full of them. If we had more, we couldn't have filled it in there. A lot of people, truly appreciated that. And I think a couple of those students became your students right now. And those students.
So if you were at 15 agents, I think I met with all of them pretty much. I want to say 9 of them are clients. We've had 2, one that closed on her first flip.
I remember her.
Right. You can shout out to Jacoby.
Yeah.
Jacoby's doing her first flip. Laura and I are getting ready to work on her first investment property. By the time this video comes out, we would have closed. Maybe I'll put the clip in here of us at her closing. So she's about to get her red helmet. We had Brandon. Brandon, we coached him through a flip. Phil's done a deal with us. Anna's done a deal with us. We have a few other, obviously yourself and Maria. So, yeah, I mean, the Barrientos group, we're doing very well. And one of the things that people asked about from other groups in All City and some of the agents, they weren't clear. They were like, well, how can you help me and Julian's my coach and this, that, and the third? And I told them, and this is my perspective, so please correct me if I'm wrong, that your job as a coach is to make sure as realtors, they're spot on. You give them strategies, you give them trainings, you make sure their contracts are right, and you make sure that the real estate transactions are correct.
Right.
But my job is to show them the other side, what it looks like as an investor. Not that you're not an investor yourself, but your job and your relationship with them is to make sure that they're serving their clients.
That's correct.
And my job is to make sure that their money that they're making from their commissions and their work is being invested, and then they're in a situation that you and I are in where we can pick and choose what it is that we want to do. Now, I know that you love what you do in terms of selling real estate and being a group leader, so you're just going to expand, but you do that because you want to, not because you have to.
That's correct. My wife said, Julian, you work, you left the military, you don't have to work if you don't want to, but you can't spend the way you're spending. Your hobbies are costing a lot of money, and if you continue doing that, we're gonna dip into our savings. My goal is to work part-time so I can do my hobbies. And next thing I know, I had a closing after closing, and I realized I was good. So it was part-time, I went full-time. If I want to provide a good service to my client works from this hour to this hour, and this is the off time he has. So if I truly want to, help them, I have to accommodate to them. But real estate to me is the best thing to happen, and the best thing about it, it's not a job. I actually love what I do, and I love what I do, and I love teaching people what I do. Some people are receptive, some people are not. But the bottom line is, I love what I do, and I willingly share it with my agents.
Okay. So we took a little break because the food started to get cold. So we just said we're gonna eat and we'll come back to it. But basically, what we left off, we didn't touch on a couple of things. On our first video, you had a goal. It was a 12-month goal, not January to January, but 12 months from the start to the end. And your goal was to make 7 figures. For the year, and at that time you were on pace. We shot that video in January. You have an update?
We did. We made 7 figures. I want to say it was like the first week of December, where we hit the 7 figures. So as a business, we did a whole lot more. But as myself personal, we hit the 7 figures. I kind of expanded a little bit, and I opened up 2 Airbnbs where I'm the guinea pig. If it works out great and I have consistent income, then that's something that we're going to move in and get our investors to partner up with us. I am very blessed, like I told you, partnering with you was the best thing. In fact, I saw a post that you posted about when we had our first conversation. I don't know if you remember that. And you said, give me 10,000 and I'll help you duplicate it, triple it. I might even give you 100K by the end of the year for whatever I do. I don't know you. I'm not going to give you 10,000. And I was very hesitant. And I'm like, this guy's in the same building as we are, and he wants me to give him $10,000. That's crazy. I'm not doing that. I told you that I was going to buy my daughter a rifle. They're like, don't do that. Buy real estate. My daughter, she has a property worth $1 million that I bought for her. I'm like, yeah, no. But seeing is believing. As it stands right now, last year, both my daughters have a house right now.
Good.
So they have a house that owns them. So when they turn 18, they get tired of me. They just move into their house, and hopefully by that time they'll be paid off. So all they have to do is worry about the utilities. And I'll thank you for that, because if I had that conversation with you, I wouldn't be where I am. I still would have the Barrientos Group, but the income coming in, the presence out there wouldn't be where it's at right now. And that's the honest truth. And I know that you got a couple of agents going on over there, and reminds me of a story, and I think you should mention it. One of your clients, you know, I'm not gonna mention his name,
Yeah.
but go ahead and mention it. I mean, you know what I'm talking about, right?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
You want to talk about it?
Yeah, I can share it. So it's tax season by the time you guys see this video. We're shooting this early February, whatnot. So I'm helping some of my clients not prepare their taxes because I'm not a CPA, but guiding their tax preparers through certain things. So for example, I'm from New York. So a lot of people who do taxes in New York, primarily their clients are from New York. So they don't know about like franchise tax filing or certain things that are out of the state of New York.
So you're helping the tax preparer prepare taxes.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
gosh.
So just like people ask me. So like I'm not a realtor. I'm not a realtor, but I work with a lot of realtors, right? Like I said, the Barrientos Group. So some of the realtors were like, "Well, I have a license. What can you show me about real estate that I don't already know?" And then I look at them and I look at their numbers and I'm like, a lot, like because you go to school and you're trained for one thing, but then when you're in the field, it's just a little different. And then there's different classes, but you got to know to go. But anyway, I digress. So back to this person. So I'm helping one of my clients who invested $3,000. We turned $3,000 into $15,000 plus rent profit over, I think it was like 18 to 20 months. So he's holding a note. For you, for those of you who don't know what holding a note is, you could send us a message, put a comment, and then I'll explain that. But this tax preparer is not a real estate specialist. So she doesn't know what holding a note is. So long story short, after I'm trying to explain to her how he's getting the money and how the breakdown has to go and why there's multiple HUDs, she hangs up and she calls him and is like, "Don't give your guy this money. Don't give this guy your money. This is some sort of a pyramid scheme. This has to be illegal." And it just goes to show that somebody who's doing your taxes, they're not all created equal. All realtors are not created equal. All teachers are not created equal. All doctors, physicians. Just because you're allowed to do the job doesn't mean that your expertise isn't one of these things. So long story short, but she criticized me and said, luckily I know this person since I was a little kid. He knew me since I was 5 and 6 years old. And we just laughed about it because she doesn't understand how to make 250% on your money in a year. So it must be illegal. And a lot of my clients feel that way because they're like, I don't understand how you're getting these checks. And it's very simple. Besides the fact that I'm a math teacher, retired, and I can calculate certain things, and that's how I calculate deals. And I want to go back to two things. One thing that Julian said, I'll segue back into what Julian said. If you caught it, Julian's been a realtor for a few years now, lining up to be a broker very soon. He has 15 agents under his tutelage at the moment, always expanding. But if you caught what he said, he's just getting into Airbnbs. We have crews, we have discounts on furniture, we have all, but he still went to a professional, a consultant who does Airbnb all day, every day. This is what we do. If I'm getting into a new venture, like when I wrote my book, I could have done everything by myself, but why? I paid somebody whose job is to handle that one specific thing, and they know tricks and tips that I would have had to learn the hard way. So it saves us time. So as far as that goes, Julian is working on his Airbnbs, and our discussion, just so this would be something else we could follow up on, we're going to wait for his first quarter. And then we're going to crunch the numbers because I want to have hard data. Having an amazing January is great. Having an amazing February is great. And not that he won't have an amazing March, but now I have real data. I have multiple data points to show our clients because I'm not going to take anybody's money and invest it in something that I don't have that's foolproof and through and through. So there's that.
We talked about my goals. We didn't talk about your goals, and one thing that probably people are asking is you had a goal to build American Foundation. You had a goal to, you gave $100,000 to American Foundation. You jump started it. Something happened along the lines. The money still is being given and out, like I mentioned earlier, but there's no building. Right. Can you tell us what happened to it?
I was doing an interview and the year was going so good. You guys have to remember, 2019, technically I was still a teacher, right? So making, you know, a regular 6-figure salary a year, the numbers that we do in a day, like if you look at this today, we just spent 150, 160, something like that.
159.
All right, yeah,
159K.
right. A regular day, like it's not a big deal. You know, a year or two ago, I was looking at the stories. We're selling. Oh my God, we did 2 closings in the same day. This week, I think we have like 8 and 9, right? It's these 2.
Okay, we closed today too. Thursday's kind of iffy. The lender called me right now. The buyer is in Germany. I'm giving the client, I don't know how much, about $300 a month. He give you $3,000, and every month for about 14 months, he got $300 a month. And then at closing, he's gonna get how much?
He's gonna walk away with 12. And then to add to that, it wasn't like the interest was 300. He had a tenant, so his profit was like 300 a month. And I'm actually helping 2 clients because I helped one client get the first part of the deal, and then the second part, and that's where some of the confusion is on sell it without getting into the minutia. So both of those clients are closing. We have Laura, your agent, is closing, so that might happen this week. It might happen next week, but that's one that we're expecting to close. And then we had one more that was lined up. One of our clients is selling their home.
So Santa Rosa.
Yeah, we closed Evans Santa Rosa today.
Evans.
But all right. So long story short, without getting into it, this is the problem now. We don't even remember what we're closing unless we go to the book and then we get the date. And then what people sometimes don't realize is that just because we have a closing schedule February 1st, and then the appraisal's late, or there's a repair amendment, or just title can't get us in, or there's something happened with a family member, and then it goes back a week, or it goes back 2 or 3 weeks. So we have the projections, but no, you don't count the money till it's in your pocket, right? So I know we have a handful of closings, whereas before, even if we were doing this many closings in a month, it was like, this is the best in life. So what happens is, it wasn't like being a lottery winner where, you know, you don't know about money management. You get 10 million and then a couple of years later you blow it because you don't understand how money works. I've grown businesses, I've scaled certain things, but this trajectory going from 6 figures in a year, where I thought was going to be a good year, to 6 figures in a month, to now 6 figures in a week, to now we just posted, I just put it up. Right now we have 16 deals that we've done to this point in the year. It's the first week of February, and we're over $1 million in purchases. Now, some of that money is going to come back, but you know, a year or 2 ago, just to have $1 million that we were playing with was amazing. And that doesn't mean like I made $1 million, but what it is like today we spent 160, so that counts as 160 that we spent. So we right now, I think we have, you know, multiple properties open, 8 or 9 flips, these 2 counts, so another few, and then some that are selling. So it's just a lot. But no.
I'm thinking right now we have Jeffries, Lago Trail.
It's so many.
We got 5 houses being rehabbed, and then 2 got closed right now. We closed 1 on Thursday, 2 on Thursday, so that's 4. So we're gonna have 5 being rehabbed, and then 4 waiting for contractors.
Right, and then we have 1 in Waco that's waiting for the foundation that just happened, that's being worked on. We have the other ones that are closing with our clients around us, plus what the Barrientos Group is doing just with you.
The independent,
Independent
of this business.
Well, you're still eating off that, but so there's all these different things moving, and I kind of went off on a tangent. I'll bring it back. So what happened was, the money started coming in a lot, and I was like, you know what am I going to do with this money? So I started the Mary Kemp Foundation, and then I pledged to donate $100,000 to whoever. So what happens is sometimes H.A. Holmes will give money. Like I give money to the Killeen Police Department, right? Shout out Officer Kyle Moore. Now Mary Kemp Foundation is an education-based foundation, so they would work with the KPD because it's not really tied to education. So what ended up happening was I pledged $100,000, and I gave my mom on her birthday, I gave her a $50,000 check for the foundation. I also throughout the year put some more money in, and I've given money here and there. Now it's November. We're doing closings, and like I just explained before, you don't have the money until you have the money. So I'm waiting for this to close, that to close, this to close, that to close, and I also want to put money in my retirement account for myself and for my wife, which is something that I worked on being successful. Where do we put our money to protect ourselves for the future? Because there is no pension for us. I mean, I'm not going to get mine until I'm like 55, right? It's a long time. So anyway.
Lucky me.
Right. So luckily, oh no, not luck. So anyway, what happens is we start doing a development on the community center area, right? The lots downtown Killeen. And I couldn't find a architect because there was nobody in town that worked with commercial development. And then I found somebody, and he said, I could go look at it in a month. He came out for 2 seconds. Yeah, okay, I'll do it. Didn't talk to him for a month. Then he came back in a month. And then and that process took 8 or 9 months. Just to get blueprints on a very simple, what I think is a very simple building compared to some of the stuff that we see. And what I also encountered was developers who right now, I mean, everybody who's watching this, you can kind of get a gauge for real estate. You're going to come do 2 1,500 square foot buildings, or you're going to go take a 50,000 square foot job. So even the builders that we had that were going to do it kept putting me on the back burner. And then again, 3 to 6 months is supposed to be done. We're 9-10 months in, and there's not much progress. And then the bank we were working with, because COVID and different things, the rules and the conversations kind of shifted from, you're going to put, these are the real raw numbers. At the time when we started, and everybody knows materials increased, it was supposed to be $40,000 down, and we would finance about 100 to 150 tops. So my total investment was going to be $40,000 from HA Homes, and then I was still going to donate the $100,000, which was fine. It was okay. By the time things got to it, the price, costs, everything went up, and then the quote I got was $250, $300.
Kind of doubled almost.
Right. So then now I got to put out 80, 90 as far as a deposit. So then I'm like, well, do I not donate and then put the funds here? And then the bank also said, because the land was very undeveloped, part of the loan, the construction loan, was going to be, they were going to pay for the demo, and then they were going to pay for the rebuild. Well, COVID, whatever reason, this, that, and the third happened, the bank said, we're not going to pay for that. We can get you the loan a lot easier if you clear the lot. $20,000, $30,000 later, $30,000 pounds worth of tree removal.
Because there was a building, there was a pre-existing building in there.
Right.
There was a cement slab, and there's a ton of trees in there that you had to remove them to build anything, right?
Right.
So that's where the $30K came in there.
Exactly. So that's just $30,000, and I'm not even done. I didn't even get half the thing. Just the place where the buildings were.
And just to interrupt there, a lot of people, when I'm doing comps, and they see a lot for sale, out there in somewhere out there, they do a comp and they see, well, this lot that has a house is worth $60,000. The lot next to it, they want $70,000, but they don't understand that they gotta prep that lot, they gotta level that lot, they gotta bring dirt, they gotta take dirt out there, they gotta do certain things in there to get it to the $70,000 lot, and then they want to sell it for so much long. That's my make. But anyway, I'm sorry. We keep going.
Right, and so then that's what happened. So now I'm out $20,000-$30,000, and not including the fees to get the paperwork drawn up, to get the lots, the surveys, the architecture. I'm out already almost $40,000-$50,000, and the bank is still saying, you have to do this, that, and the third. So the person I was working with at the bank ends up leaving the bank, and I'm in New York, and then I'm like rushing through. I actually went to the wrong airport, and so I'm frantic at the airport trying to get back home, and I get a phone call, and the person from the bank says, "Hey, you got to pay off this loan because it was a mortgage on the lot." And the previous person I was working with was going to roll that. It was $37,000. Was going to roll that balance into the loan, and then I would just pay a difference. Kind of like when you turn in a car and you're upside down, they just add it to the top. So $37,000 is not a big deal in terms of real estate and the type of volume that we do. So it was no problem with this person. But the way that bank worked was at his level, he had autonomy. So he didn't have to get approval for anything under $250. So that 37 was no brainer. Plus, I've been bringing in millions of dollars through different clients. So this is not a problem. So he leaves and he goes and gets another job. And then his boss calls and says, "Listen, if you don't pay this right now, we're calling the loan and we're going to take you to court."
So when somebody, an employee who had the authority to made a decision, they left, somebody took over and didn't want to honor what was going on.
Right.
And it forced you to pay off the mortgage on it.
She told me, if you don't pay this loan off in 30 days, I'm taking you to court.
Wow.
And now I'm not really even worried about the $37,000 as much as my reputation in the small town, as much as what having that. When you guys fill out loan applications, they say, "Have you ever been sued?" Like this could like ruin our future development. Yeah. So I'm like, listen, just give me a couple days. Long story short, this person at the bank was just acted like not even that the money should matter, right? Mm. But I mean, I thought we had a relationship, you know, invited me to certain events. I sponsored stuff over there. And so I thought we had a good relationship. And she didn't even give me an opportunity to try to rectify it. So I know enough that it was going to take her at least 30 days to serve me with paperwork. So I said, okay, well, I got 30 days to pay this thing off. So I was like, I didn't know what to do, this, that, and the third. We had some builders come out and look. And then they were going to go into contract and this, that, and the third. So what ended up happening, long story short, was this is the end of the year. So I had like $50,000 earmarked because I just was waiting for some closings to come in so then I could make my final donation to wherever it was going to go. I ended the year donating $67,000 to charity. Mm-hmm. And out of that 50, I had to pay 37 or else I had a court case.
Yep.
And I thought, well, you know, if I sell it, I'll recoup whatever. But it was in that year, so my goal was to donate $100,000 in 2021, and it fell a little short. And we still have the lots.
So it fell short. You said $100,000, but how much did you donate?
I donated $67,000 of my own money.
You still winning, though.
Right. But you know, just as far as like, I like to meet and I like to exceed my goals.
I understand.
And it was either donate the money and then end up in court, or do that and then this year just continue to donate and then volunteer and do all the things I already do. But I learned a lot from that situation, and I'm not bitter about it, and I had to reflect, and I understand the person at the bank's perspective because she was blindsided, which I can't tell a bank how to run their business, but even if somebody has autonomy, I mean, you should still spot check it. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not saying the name of the bank. I'm not trying to bash the bank.
No, the bank did phenomenal for when it did. Yeah. You know, and leadership happened, and then it happened when it is.
Right. So that's just the behind the scenes of why the community center wasn't developed. But we're still able to help. We have satellite things and some other partnerships that I don't want to speak out yet, just until they close. But there should be facilities where you can go and there's a physical place where Mary Kemp exists.
So is Mary Kemp Foundation building structure shelf, or is it still a goal that you want to do?
Right now, since I own the lots, like right out, no mortgage, no nothing, I have a lot of opportunities. So I want to weigh my opportunities, and the goal was to have something for the community. So when the time is right, or when the meetings are able to happen, ideally I'd like to do something, but I don't even know what it would be, but I would like to have local community leaders and something for the kids, something for a nice, safe place to go, which was already the vision, but I just don't know how that's going to look at the moment. Okay. So, it's Mary Kemp Foundation in terms of a nonprofit organization is still thriving. We're still donating money. We just gave money to students from Brooklyn College 2 days ago. We have some laptops we're going to give away. We still are doing the work. But in terms of that facility, right now, it's kind of in limbo.
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
So I have something for you. So 2020, you ended the year 115 closings and 11 million, just under 11 million, 11.1 million.
Right.
Now, where are you at the end of 2022? How'd you do in 2021?
So, little bit thing. 2020, $11 million. If you do the math, 3%, you get a certain number. However, when you add the fix and flip, that wasn't in there, and we did how many flips? Fix and flip in.
That year we did 45.
So 45 plus 115.
Okay.
This year I did 104 transactions. Plus, how many fix and flip?
Well, so the 115 the fix and flips we did is a part of that 115, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so you got your realty money, and then you got your fix and flip money, right?
Yep.
Your private contractor money.
Right.
And then this year,
same difference. We did 104 myself personally.
104 personally,
Mm.
and then in that we did 70 transactions. So out of your 104 of your transactions,
Yeah.
I was 70%.
No.
Or is it the Barrientos group?
The Barrientos Group just did 104.
104. Okay.
And then on top of that, we did 70 transactions. And I checked the numbers. I think 35 of those houses is where we turned back around. We bought them, and then we sold them under the Barrientos Group. So you got 104 minus 35, so.
Oh, so you have to add that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So all right, I understand. I was confused about that.
Yeah.
So so the first year was 115 plus those 45.
Yes, sir.
So you were at 160.
Mm-hmm.
And then this year's 105
minus about 35.
minus 35 because when we get them from other places, you don't get the credit for that.
That's
because,
correct.
Oh, I understand.
We closed on
because it wasn't sales.
Like we closed on Rosa today.
Right. That doesn't count for you.
I got no commission off
Oh,
of it.
I didn't know. I didn't think about that.
Yep.
So it was sales, and since we're buying today, these transactions count for us, but they don't count towards your sales numbers because you didn't sell them.
When we fix and we flip Santa Rosa, it'll count for us, and it'll count as transactions. So at the end of the year, if it's 104 minus 1, because Santa Rosa is something that we bought as a fix and flip, and then we're selling it on it.
Oh, okay.
So in 2021. Yeah, at market value, sometimes above asking. Westover just sold. It was bought.
Was it 128?
Bought for 65,000.
Yeah, we bought it for 6. Westover is actually the house that I purchased that came with the lots at Kemp Community, and I ended up selling just Westover for 65, and now 18 months later.
18 months later, we sold it for 128, but it only appraised for 120. So, the investors don't want to pay market value. They want to pay below market, and it's become a little bit more difficult. Not impossible, difficult. And so instead of us fixing and flipping and selling internally to our investors, we have to go out to the open market, and then bring buyers out there, and that's what we're getting above it. Above asking, highest and best, because that's what the market is. So the investors that are investing with us, they're making more money than the predecessors.
Right.
Because now instead of waiting 18 months to get the profit, they're getting it immediately.
Yeah, 90 days. Our average from last year on 70 transactions, our average was 84 days. I'm putting more effort back into education, being in schools, working with other clients, and this, that, and the third, and going back into what I'm passionate about. So I guess this year, even though, we've done more transactions, but it seems like on paper there were less transactions, but that's only because they don't count because we're buying so many more.
Right.
Whereas before, what would happen is we would get like a wholesale deal, but we were buying it for the client, so you were getting credit for that. Whereas now, we're buying it now, you don't get the sales credit, but only on the end when we sell it the second time. Okay, I didn't understand it like that.
I don't know, the one we closed on Rosa, you look at the HUD, I'm not mixed at all.
Right, yeah.
I did the transaction.
Right.
But the agent that sold it off market, he took a 7% commission.
Right.
7% commission, and I got 0. But that's okay, because we know we're gonna fix it, we're gonna flip it, and we're gonna make money, and that's where I'm gonna make the money.
Right.
But that's just the nature of the beast, when we flip these houses, we don't get commission, you don't get commission. It's called, a profit. So if you put a percentage, it's more than 7%.
All day. Yeah,
So,
the percentage is way more than just.
So I can't be mad for that agent for what he did. It is what it is.
So what I would like everybody to kind of take away from this, if you're still with us watching the video, is even if something's working, we're doing great, you still want to see what the next thing is, because you always want to grow. Like I always like to learn. I know Julian's studious, so you always want to see where you can improve and refine. And for some of our clients, like Julian said, yeah, they had high expectations because we set the bar. But what happened was the environment changed, and some people didn't want to adapt.
In my opinion, I'm doing phenomenally well. 7 figures annually, 2 years in a row. I would think I don't need a coach, but I do. You're coaching me on investments, on how to manage the money. And this other guy's coaching me how to manage my time, my day. I tell you what, all of you guys are horrible managing. Well, the majority of you guys are horrible managing time, but you don't notice it. I didn't notice it until somebody told me, pointed out to me. So my days are getting more and more efficient. I'm getting accomplished a lot more with a lot less. Last year, I went on vacation. I went overseas with my family. We came back. 4 days later, me and mom went to Miami. We came back. We took off a week for my in-laws' 50th anniversary, and then we took 3 weeks in Mexico. With the previous year, I didn't do that, and then last year I did that, and I still made the same thing on it. So I was able to duplicate the previous year, this past year, and when I add it all up, I actually only worked about 9 months because my time is more efficient now because I had a coach tell me how to do it. You know, you coached me with investments. If you hadn't coached me with investments, I wouldn't have my portfolio that I have. You know, I probably wouldn't be where I am right now. So, you know, I give you credit for where I'm at. And I tell you, even my coach has a coach. And it's funny.
Oh,
wow.
It's the only way. Everything that I do, like, and we're learning, like, I have somebody who's a professional at it, and I go to them, and that's just the way. That's the best way to do things, because even if it's something that you're really good at, like, I don't know as much as real estate as you, but that's what you do all day. But I know enough to start to be able to ask questions and for us to say, all right, well, we're gonna go this direction, this, that, and the third, but only because that's your specialty. So Julian's my coach in essence in terms of real estate. And then we go back and forth. And you really have to make sure that you're putting the right people in your corner. And if you're in a situation that you don't love, there's two things you could change. You could change yourself, or you could change your environment. That's it. It's very simple. You don't like where you're at, you get up and you move. That's gonna change things. Or if you're in your environment, how could you change so that your environment around you just looks different? So with that, I'd like to segue into what we have going on in 2022 and moving forward. Okay? All right, so we're back. We just took a little transition. We've been here for a good amount of time. And I'd like to get into 2022.
Well,
what's going on?
So 2022, we got this office here. We opened up in October, had the grand opening, and it was good. Like I said, it was good. And we keep growing. And we already outgrew this office. And my goal is to build a building. I want to build a building where you walk in, reception center, you got your conference office, and then you got all your agents, individual offices, the full-time agents, and then I have what I'm going to call the bull room. And I take this from KW, Jeff Slanker. He took a conference room, and then he put little dividers around the area with phones, so the agents can go on there and they can cold call, which is how I make, that's my niche, cold calling. I probably will not acquire anything in my portfolio unless I do a subject to. And if you know what a subject to is, hit him up. He'll teach you. I want to have at least 25 agents by the end of the year. And we're in February. What are your goals?
I think first I want us to do 100 deals together. It's a nice round number. We're on pace, and it seems like we're on pace. We're over 10 for January, so 8 a month should be pretty easy to do. And I want to. My goals are tricky because of what's going on with COVID and Omicron and what other variation. But I definitely would like to hit 10 states and tour and focus more on the book and getting into classrooms and working with children. I have things lined up, seminars and workshops and whatnot. And I think if I could speak to 10,000 people this year, that would be a good goal.
I think you're about 9,500 short already. Because you already spoke to some people, right?
Right.
So
yeah.
you're getting there,
Yeah.
Baby steps, but you're gonna get there. But I don't see why you couldn't do it. Honestly, I don't. The more success we are, a lot of agents come and ask me, "Hey, Julian, I want to learn how to fix and flip. Can you teach me?" I said, "I don't have time. I honestly don't have time to teach you. If you join my team, I will teach you But other than that, I'm not making time for you.
Right.
You know, however, my partner associate, H.A. Holmes, can teach you how to do it. So go see him. And I'll send you a couple of people on that way.
Yeah.
So the more successful you are, I've seen the agents all want to do it. And but I'll tell you, everybody else in here, we have made some mistakes fixing and flipping. Not everything's profit. We've been very fortunate that we really haven't had anything negatives, but we just haven't made the profit that we expected on it. And we have made some concessions for the investors we barely break even. So if you want to do a fix and flip, you don't have to use us. You don't have to, reach out to Hussein, but I highly encourage you to reach out to somebody who knows what they're doing, because fix and flip is easy, but it's the most difficult thing to do when you're starting out. Contractors will take your money. I've had a contractor, he took $14,000. Didn't see him again. I got his number, but it's out of service.
Right.
I don't have his address. I got his name, but I don't even know if it's true. Never, So you live and learn. And then on a personal level, like on a personal level, a contractor was supposed to do a shed cover extension for my outside kitchen. Gave him $4,900. Guy never showed. I know who he is. I know where he lived at. Try to report it. Cop said, he didn't steal from you. You won't give him the check. Take him to court. So careful who you contract, who you hire. Careful where your money goes on it. I highly recommend that you seek out guidance, toolage, get somebody to coach and mentor you for the fix and flip. It's not easy, but it's not difficult.
So with that, if anybody wants to reach out to you, how do they find you?
Well, if you go to social media, if you go on Yahoo, Google, social media, and all you gotta do is put call for Julian, CAL for Julian, I will pop up. My business will pop up there. Call for Maria, call for Jacoby, call for Laura, call for Kim, call for Anna, call for Anita. Just put call for and one of my agents' names, and they will pop up on social media. My address is in there. I'm 1711 East Central Expressway. That's how here, the One Clean building. My number is 254-285-1432. Just reach out to me, and I would recommend that you text me, so that way if I'm busy and I don't answer the phone, I do get your text, and I will text you back, or I will call you, better yet, back when I get a chance.
Yeah, just look for the logo.
Yep.
So I want to thank you. You guys know how to find me, H.A. Homes US. You put that on the internet, we're going to come up all over the place on various different social medias and then the website. Also, check out Fear, Forget Everything and Reset. And if you're interested, you could always donate funds to the Mary Kemp Foundation. Again, if you search any of those things, Forget Everything and Reset, we pop up everywhere. Don't go through Amazon. Get the book directly from us. We sell it for cheaper than what you can get it anywhere else because our prices got better, so we gave better prices. And the Mary Kemp Foundation, again, website and everything else like that comes up. So I want to thank you for your time.
No, thank you for coming over. Appreciate it.
Always a pleasure, brother. And we'll see you guys in a year.